to the Cathedral of Shadows, where demons gather.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Cathedral of Shadows, a Megami Tensei Podcast. I'm Rasen.
I'm Katsu.
And we have a lot of important news that I think everyone that follows us probably knows already what happened.
For those who don't, what are you guys doing? Follow us on Twitter.
Who would have thought that Igor's English voice actor would change? What a fucking big
That's kind of a shame. I mean, I liked his English voice.
I know,
but the strange part is, it's like they kept it for the character select, but they changed it in the story.
That's really fucking weird because they sound very different too.
And I believe his Japanese voice got changed too.
Well, that's obvious.
That's
reasons.
huge.
No, that's obvious reasons because that. For those of you who don't know, Igor's voice actor passed away after I think it was right after Persona 4, or at least a year or so
2010.
after.
It was like right after Persona 3 Portable.
Okay. Yeah, and they've just reused his lines ever since, and that's actually so they do have a new voice actor for the Japanese. Yeah. Okay, that's a big thing because
this makes it Igor's third actor actually. In the drama CDs of Persona 1 and 2, he was voiced by another guy who died.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, hopefully the third guy doesn't pass away. So it's like the Superman curse or whatever. Just everyone who plays the role falls with misfortune, unfortunately, it seems. But no, people freaked out about it, like, oh my god, voice actor changed. And I think a big part of this one, or why people reacted to this so suddenly, was because
didn't know about it beforehand.
We didn't, and actually, I don't really mind, I guess, because Igor really isn't too involved with Ultimax, anyways.
Yeah. You only see him for that one scene in the beginning, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Which is probably why they just got someone else to do it, because it was such a small part.
Yeah, they're like, fuck it, why not? Man, so I don't know. How do you feel about it? Because I know some people are like, oh god, this is too different, or this is terrible. It's a lot different, not gonna lie, and I don't know how I feel.
It makes Igor sound younger.
It does. I don't know how I feel about it being different, but I can't say that he's doing a bad job from what I've heard. He's doing a decent enough job. I don't like him as much, but like people are shitting all over him, and I think that's kind of unfair. It's a little early.
A little early. We've only heard him say like 3 lines.
Yeah. To be honest, he's not really around too much. So yeah, that was a big bombshell, but I mean, there's other big incredible news that we have to cover yet.
Speaking of like the new Ultimax's voices, new Naoto sounds really great. New Kanji sounds exactly the same as the old one. I don't think the casual Persona fan is ever going to notice.
Yeah. This is true, actually. Well, it seems really like they're just telling those guys to do to just sound similar. Like, I don't really think they're trying to get like a new take on the character.
Take on the character. They're just trying to like, hey, sound as closest to the old guys as possible, and they're like, all right.
Yeah, but man,
Margaret's just the most different. At first I was like, I'm not really feeling her. Then after a while, it's like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, Margaret, I think, is the most divisive so far, other than Igor. Margaret seems to be the one people are kind of having trouble with. I don't mind her. I don't mind her myself. I don't like her as much, but I don't mind her. Well, you know how people are with voice actor changes in Persona when, like, oh god. I mean, I guess that happens with video games in general. I don't know if anyone remembers when Infamous 2 first like the first trailer for Infamous 2 came out, but everyone flipped to shit because Cole's voice sounded completely different. Uh, but yeah, and then I guess Ultimax is out and about, and people have been having fun with it, and people have imported it or downloaded it, like Katsu. You have.
Yes.
You've been enjoying it so far?
Yes, I've been Ultimaxing and I've been suplex holding.
So much.
Yes.
Yeah. We have 29 days on that as of this recording until it comes out here. Sad face, but
And
I
a few
can
more days
I can wait.
until Adachi drops in Japanese PSN.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's pretty cool. But man, I think we've had enough of the Ultimax chit chat. Something really big happened. Really big.
Big. The bonus accomplice ending episode is going to happen for Persona 4 Gold in the animation.
I know, who would have thunk? I actually,
Actually, I didn't think they'd actually do it. I
I
kind
didn't
of
either.
joked about it, but wow, they're actually going to do it.
It's just a bonus thing, so I doubt it's going to be the quote unquote ending. It's just a fun
Yeah.
little side thing that they're going to put out. But I thought it was funny just because everyone's like, I hope the accomplice ending, like I hope Golden goes for the accomplice ending just to fuck with everyone. And I'm like, oh, that would never happen, but that would be amazing. But yeah, it looks like they're doing that. I'm actually kind of interested to see their take on
It's
that.
happening, sort of.
Is it happening, sort of, kind of?
Sort of.
They went out of their way to say it was a bonus episode and not the actual, like, not part of the series itself in a way. So to each their own. I think that's going to put the total episode count at 13.
All right, that's
Solid.
Solid.
Did we
So-
get like a date for that at all?
I don't think so. I think we might have, but I probably skipped over it because
I didn't pay that close attention. But man, I enough about this Ultimax stuff and this anime stuff. There's
we got another bombshell.
We got
just
another
dropped.
bombshell.
Yeah,
There's a game that people have been interested in for a while now that people have really been kind of concerned about just because there's no real info that has come out as of late surrounding its release. But that changed because our good friend the A Tricker on Twitter was at PAX with and he was
fighting people at PAX.
He was fighting people at PAX, our good streaming buddy, the A Tricker. We just call him Trick for short. And he met up with Gideon Z, who on Twitter was talking about how he was also at PAX and had a little known game with him called Shin Megami Tensei If. And sure enough, he had a playable build of it, and Trick was just kind of talking on Twitter, and I'm like, dude, Gideon Z is like in PAX, just go find him. And he's like, okay. And then if I recall, he even left it. I think he DQ'd out of a Street Fighter tournament, which made me feel guilty. But he ended up being able to meet Gideon Z and chat a little and play. I think he said he just fought the second boss of SMT-If on the normal route or whatever. I don't know how much that diverges. I don't imagine much. So yeah, he fought the second boss of the game and was able to just kind of play around with the little beta build that Gideon had on hand. Now, I mean, that's all cool and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, it's awesome, you got to experience it, how was it and all that. But Trick kind of was able to squeeze a little info out because apparently just through conversation, Gideon let be known that he has rough plans for the patch to be done by the end of October and released.
Yes.
Now, one thing I want to say, this is a thing he said in, I guess, what you could call a private conversation that just so happened to get put out there. He could change his mind, things could come up, and also I wouldn't bother him about it, but that being said, if all things go well, SMT-If translation patch.
It's happening.
End of October, it's happening.
It's really happening.
This goddamn year, man, with Megaten fan translation stuff. Holy shit,
This is a pretty good year for Megaten games in general.
This is really good. It's a good time to be a Megami Tensei fan or a podcast because we need the news.
Yes, all this delicious news.
All of the delicious news pieces. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't really think anything else happened this week. No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nothing really happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's this. The fuck is that noise?
What noise?
Is there a duck in your house? No, but I mean, And I guess I can talk a little bit about my week. I mean, last night there was this little like Sony press conference thing. It was a little like pre-TGS show, and I was in my bed. It was like 1 a.m. I was reading some Diamond is Unbreakable, just going through the JoJos and stuff. I'm like, yeah, part four.
Diamond does not crash. You mean?
Yeah. Diamond is not crash. Duang is not crash. And I just looked at Twitter and I saw people were tweeting about the Sony's little show they had. It's like, oh my God, there's Danganronpa Vita coming out, and oh my God, Sony's focusing on a bunch of like Husbando games and Otome, whatever. I don't know what that's called. I think it's Otome, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like all freaking out about that. I'm like, oh, that seems like a fun time, and everyone's tweeting. And I saw Levito tweeted something, and I'm like, oh hey, I vaguely recall him saying earlier today that he was gonna have a little Skype call thing going on, just with people, and we could all like watch TGS together and all that. So I'm like, what the fuck? I don't need to sleep, even though I have responsibilities. So I messaged him on Skype. I'm like, hey man, that Skype call happening? He's like, fuck yeah. So then he added me in. And the show was okay. Like
Yeah.
there's a little thing about Resident Evil remake HD, and then there's
And then God Eater. Oh my God.
Oh yeah,
God Eater too.
God Eater 2 happened, and I was like, oh shit, Katsu's gonna flip his shit in the morning.
I know. And like, even though the name is really, really dumb, I am mostly excited for it. But at the same time, like, oh man, I'm gonna have to shell out like another $60 just to get this game because I know how the Japanese work. But it's coming to PS4 as well. I'm like, oh.
Gasp. Man, if only there were more PS4 games or games.
Yeah, Disgaea 5 is coming to PS4.
Oh yeah, there's that. And then they showed the Ys
for PS4.
Yes.
Franchise that's like 30 years old, and it's is getting a true HD.
And yeah,
release.
and people were freaking out about that, but like everyone in the call is like, oh yeah, that's cool, but I mean, we weren't really that big of fans of the franchise, or at least the people in that call didn't really know too much about it. So
and then Dragon Quest Heroes happened, and they're coming out with a Metal Slime PS4.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a point where even we were getting so bored that Levito started doing his Willem Dafoe impressions, and yeah, and then I mean, there's a little thing where they said something like, oh, here's a game coming out to PS3, PS4, and we're like, oh. And then the Atlus logo popped up, and then everyone shut the fuck up, and then everyone watched, and then the fucking Persona 5 like thing happened, and then we all like came simultaneously in the Skype call, and then freaked out and like flipped our shits for about, I think, a solid 2 hours after the thing happened. We were talking about it, and me and Levito were like, fuck, they actually showed it. And we're just kind of in a state of shock, and then we're just talking about all that. Oh, but not only did they show the Persona 5 trailer, we got some new news about it, such as...
And, also, with the Persona 5 trailer, I like to dissect the trailer a bit.
Yes, but I want to talk about the big things first. First thing, looks like Persona 5 is coming to PS4 as well as PS3.
Yeah, it looks like Sony commissioned Atlus. They slid some hundreds under the table. Like, hey man,
that's really what it looks like. I really doubt that was Atlus or Sega. I'm pretty sure Sony was like, hey, we need JRPGs. Hey, Atlus, Persona 5, making it for PS3. Let's give you some cash for it.
Well, yeah, let's give you some money. Put it on PS4. Keep this a secret, all right?
Yeah. So there's that, and then also. Release date was 2015. Now, this is weird because the original Japanese release date was winter 2014. Now, how that works is that also does technically include January and February of 2015.
Business-wise, it does.
Just exactly. So, to be honest, I kind of assumed that in Japan it would come out at the start of 2015. And now it just says coming 2015. So it looks like it got delayed, and it seems like they haven't really come out and outright said it, but I'm assuming it got delayed. And
it probably got delayed because of the PS4 version being a thing, and they were like, oh shit, we need to start porting, push the date back.
Even then, it'd only take a couple months, so I'm not too upset about it or anything. And to be completely honest, like, I'm gonna be so busy with Persona Q and Ultimax and
All
whatnot.
this other stuff.
Yeah, I could use the breathing room, so sure.
And you still use the breathing room to buy a PS4, be a squad.
I'm just gonna get the PS3 version of Persona 5. I'm not ready for the current gen jump.
I'm ready for it. It's got games I want on there. PS4 finally has games.
I'm too casual and I'm too broke. Katsu, please let me get a Vita first. I'm catching up. I need to get the dancing all night. So yeah, but that fucking Persona 5 trailer, we saw what looks like the main character,
Yeah, he looks pretty cool.
who so far seems to have 100% female approval rating.
Yeah, 100% female approval rating. All the ladies love him. And
Um,
then NeoGaf is still rather confused. NeoGaf and GameFAQs are rather confused on what his gender is.
he's
Did you see those threads?
Yeah, that was dumb. He's obviously a dude.
Dude.
But no, people because he's got the glasses thing going and the wavy hair, and people are splooging. Yeah, it's a good design. I like it.
Yeah, I like his design. He looks more of a blank slate like, and then compared to Minato and Origami.
Yes, and that's what I like because people are like, "Oh, he looks generic," and I'm like, "That's what I fucking want in a Megaten protagonist," because like, I want them to just be normal people because that's what Megaten does good is it makes normal people grow
Get
and
involved and
get
to
involved with
extraordinary.
crazy shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was actually really happy about that. And also he looks like the Devil Survivor 2 protagonist,
Yeah.
with glasses on, which I think is pretty funny. And we all know how I feel about Devil Survivor 2. So that made me very, very happy. I was a very happy Rasen. Even from there, I guess we could use that to segue into the setting, which it looks like looks like Shibuya.
Yeah, the Shibuya area of Tokyo. And
Um,
for like a Megaten setting, that's not a big deal. But considering how it's a Persona game, it might be Shibuya, but might not be. It might be like not Shibuya.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be not Shibuya. Like they're gonna call it something else. But yeah, I was pretty happy about that. I mean, the game, I was even talking about this just before we started recording. The game gives me Devil Survivor 2 vibes. I'm sure it's going to be different and probably not like Devil Survivor 2 at all at the end of the day. But that main character design and the fact that they're going for the large metropolitan area, that that really reminds me of Devil Survivor in general because that's kind of what they focus on in those games too. So yeah, what else can we talk about with that? I know you said you wanted
There
to...
was when the trailer was running, they showed off this billboard that had all these news topics and stuff. There were hang on, give me a moment to pull it up. I think it's in the other chat.
Here, we should probably link to this below.
Yeah. There you go. All right, I got it. So, in the promotional trailer for Persona 5, there were like these billboards or headlines or whatever. They were talking about all these various topics. The first headline was talking about dangerous driving. In recent years, repeated cases of people killing others driving drunk. something about people being found hanging in their room, suicide.
Mm-hmm.
A mass slashing incident, and they mentioned Akihabara being attacked some years ago. Cases of bullying where people are ignoring bullying. They don't think it's a thing, and then people are getting bullied, etc., and so forth.
Yeah.
Falsification of evidence. And sales tax going up.
So
there's even smaller headlines too.
Oh.
Smaller headlines including adultery, threatening phone calls to someone who won the lottery, and etc. Yeah, that's it.
So what that strikes me as is either issues that the main cast are going to have to deal with, or like some of them have that going on, or B, social link characters, and those are some of the issues they're dealing with.
It seems like Persona 5 seems to have a huge. It seems to be influenced by sociology a lot.
Yes. Now this is what I kind of want to get into. Persona 3 was very obviously about depression, student suicide rates, stuff like that. Persona 4 very much about the I guess kind of growing up in a way and just
growing up, the sense of self, the true self.
Learning about yourself and self-realization and whatnot, and coming, the truth. That's a very blanket word for the
for those studying philosophy, epistemology. That's kind of like what Persona 4 was trying to get. That was like their message.
And then Persona 5, we kind of already know it's the idea of people being felt brought down by society or chained down, and the sense of liberation and like the self-growth type thing from that and breaking away.
And these headlines kind of drive that point home, that this is what
Persona
is going to be all about.
This really looks a lot like shitty people in society breaking down others, and like those I think our main cast, or at least a decent chunk of the characters we get to know, are going to be people that have had terrible people do terrible things to them, or people they know, and them having to cope with that and grow because of those experiences. So I know we talk about and goof about this a lot, like on the whole like light dark thing. This seems like we've talked about it before. This seems like it's going to be more serious. I think this kind of is the nail in the coffin for that. This seems pretty.
This seems pretty very adult subject.
Yeah. Like even the fucking like the suicide, the adultery, the suicide rate,
the suicide rates, the bullying, all that other stuff. It seems like it's it's like very touchy things that people don't like to talk about.
Yeah, those all seem like very recent things too, kind of like just contemporary issues, if you will.
Contemporary issues nobody likes to talk about because it's so sensitive and subjective.
And if you look at Persona 3 and 4, they did the same thing. So I'm excited to see that they're still continuing with that direction.
They're still continuing with the psychology aspects of Persona. They're trying to make meaningful games.
I appreciate that.
Thanks, Ashino.
Yeah, thanks, Ashino. I guess from there you talked about the setting a bit. How'd you feel about the logo, actually? Because that kind of happens after we get our first.
Yeah. Everybody says it looks like a freaking racing logo.
It does.
It kind of does.
Okay, so I think this is the only thing that people have, it seems generally agreed, is kind of weak. The logo.
The logo's pretty weak.
I don't think it's ugly or anything. It's weak. Yeah, I think that's a good, because like Persona 4 logo is pretty fucking good. Persona 3 logo really, really sleek. It was nice to look at. This
Persona
one just looks kind of
cool.
Persona 2, yeah, exactly. This one just looks kind of
weak,
kind of half-assed. I feel bad to say, but it really feels kind of half-assed. But yeah, it does.
But I guess it kind of fits with the setting, like the cityscape setting. It kind of has I feel like it has a bit of an urban design to it. That urban typeface.
Seattle hipster douchebag. Yeah. I listened to this band before you did type of look to it. I can see that.
Also, what do you think about the time and setting? Because with the start of Persona 3, the game seemed to take place like a few years after the game drops in Japan. Like Persona 3 takes place in 2009, and Persona 4 took place in 2012.
Yeah, it was like 2011, 2012. I would not be surprised if they did the same thing, just also because, from what I understand, doesn't Arena take place, like, now?
No, it still takes place in 2012, Golden Week.
Oh, okay, but I thought, yeah, okay, never mind, I was wrong. Yeah, I forgot I forgot when Persona 4 ended. And then I think Dancing All Night takes place a few weeks, months after Arena. So I mean
2012.
Yeah, so I mean even just to get some distance from
It might take place in like 2018 or 2017 or something like that. Because we see the MC with the smartphone, at least.
Because I wouldn't mind that, because it would give us some distance, because Persona 1, Persona 2, kind of around that same area, then there's a gap. Persona 3, Persona 4, kind of same thing, then there's a gap. With Persona 5, I would be happy with that.
Yeah, I'd be fine.
I mean, even we see two girls on the little subway train with the cell phone and stuff. So I mean, it's obviously, contemporary setting and all that. It's very much now or 20 minutes into the future type of thing.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of
Immediate
that,
future.
I know there's a bunch of people that are like, oh, the cell phones are going to be significant.
I doubt it. I think they're just trying to show that it is taking place now or
yeah, I
in
think
the future.
because you know what people do when they're on a train? They look at their fucking cell phone.
They look at their fucking phones because there's nothing else to do on the train.
Exactly. Like I don't think that's gonna be that important because I know people are like, oh, there's a lot of other Devil Survivor 2 comparisons.
I mean, there's a lot of cell phones in Persona 4, and you don't see them summoning personas with their phones. Speaking of Persona 4, it was 2012 and they were still using flip phones. Well, then again, I don't think smartphones were around in 2008, or at least they weren't big yet.
They weren't really. Well, Japan also has it's hard on for flip phones still. I mean, even in Devil Survivor 2, they have like the flip phones. So yeah, like I don't know, man. That was
Also, what do you think about the MC? What do you think about the school uniform that we got going on here? I think it looks cool.
It looks pretty good. Apparently, once again, because Persona 3 and 4, if you don't know, the school emblem looks a lot like just a various car company logos, and apparently, once again, they got the car logo thing going. I don't know which company exactly. I'm not a car person. I'm sorry.
Also, he has a pin for the number 2 on his school uniform, so he's definitely a second-year high schooler.
Well, I could have figured that just based off Persona 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And then too, also some people pointed out that it kind of looks like the patch from the school from SMTF, but I don't think there's any similar. Like, it's just a shield with a banner thing. I doubt it's a reference.
What if they do just reference SMTF out of nowhere? That would be freaky.
That would be
especially since we just got, especially since the announcement of the SMTF fan translation patch. It's like all of a sudden SMTF and Persona 5. Hello.
Yeah. Oh geez, I don't know, man, but I know. I guess I think the only real thing we haven't talked about yet, and also, first of all, it's fucking amazing that we've been able to have this long of a discussion about a trailer that was like a minute 30 long. Fucking, he goes outside and the camera kind of circles around him. It kind of, okay, this is another thing. In general, the main character seems a little socially awkward.
Yeah.
I like this. Thank Christ, because okay, so this is another thing. I was kind of talking about this with Levito and friends after the thing. I would not be surprised, and I really hope this is the case. And even I think we had an email about this a few episodes back, or a month or so ago. You know how Persona 3 and 4, you're automatically the most popular kid in school. All of the girls want on your D, and all of the guys wish to be you. I would not be surprised just with kind of how his mannerisms look and just his kind of general uneasy.
How his uneasiness and how normal he looks and compared to Minato and Narukami.
He just looks kind of like he's awkward and doesn't really like being in large groups like that. I would not be surprised if he was kind of bullied himself, or if
he's going to get bullied when he goes to this new school,
or if he's in general just kind of unpopular and you hang out with like the kind of the outcast group of people, like that type of thing, which would be such a nice breath of fresh air. And I kind of hate to bring it up, but sometimes the wish fulfillment crap in Persona 3 and 4 go a little far.
They do.
And a little far.
I feel like with Persona 5, it's going to have wish fulfillment and all that. It's going to have its waifus. You already know social links are going to be back.
Oh, of course.
But I feel like with like the social aspects, they're going to be a bit more meaningful, if that's the word to put it. I'm trying to think of a word to say other than meaningful, but I can't think of anything else but to say that.
Well, because the direction they seem to be taking, and I'm really getting this impression, and I hope I'm right because I would fucking love this, is you are not the person. You are not the type of person everyone wants to automatically befriend right away. You're kind of that outsider kid that just kind of doesn't fit in all that well, which would actually in a way make the social link thing make more sense
Make
because
more sense.
I mean, even Minato kind of had that going on where he isn't the easiest person to talk to, but once people, it wasn't too hard for him to really make friends and become that popular kid just because he's
Yeah.
cool and all that. He's
And
cool and
with the female protagonist, like her design wise, she just looks like a social butterfly.
and even her dialogue options. So even that's kind of something from Persona 3 that I think even they could do better with Persona 5. That it, the thing with Narukami and the thing with the Femc is the social linking thing kind of loses a bit of it because the thing with Minato, and this is actually part of the reason that just as I've played more Persona 3 Portable and dicked around with it more, I think the story of the male protagonist is slightly stronger. Maybe the social links aren't as good as I'll admit to that. I think the female main character has the better social link scenes, but I think the actual story is better considering Minato kind of starts off as that loner kid, and as he makes friends, he grows as a person and he becomes a little more open and a better person.
Yeah.
Whereas Narukami and
Narukami and Femc, they're like social butterflies, like I just said.
well, they're kind of already they're kind of like Narukami's kind of quiet. I'll give you that sometimes, but they don't really seem to need the message as strong as Minato did. And I think Persona 5, if they go for the whole thing where you don't fit in and you need to make friends kind of just because you're not someone people are gonna go up to and just talk to right away because you're just kind of an awkward fuck. I think that would be really cool if they went that direction because it would make the social link thing tie in with the main arc and the main character's growth so much better and so much cleaner than Persona 4.
Yeah, and it'll be much more meaningful too.
Yeah, and you would probably care about the social link characters more because everyone else fucking hates you or at least doesn't care about you. Even like, I mean, let's be honest here. Like, I hope they don't go the thing where everyone in the school is a dick to you. Just kind of like you don't really people are just kind of apathetic type of thing, and you have the one or two douchebaggy kids that don't like you type thing. I think that would be a good direction for it, and I wouldn't be surprised if, of course, there's the wish fulfillment thing because you're gonna have your waifus. You're gonna have the waifus, obviously, and you're probably gonna be able to be like the best person in your club and or sport, but. If they do take kind of a less wish fulfillment-y thing with it, I think that'd be cool. And it looks like they're doing that so far.
Yeah.
Just based off his mannerisms.
Based off his mannerisms. Now let's talk about when it zooms into that thing that like when people stop walking, like time seems to stop and there's the blue flames off in the distance and you see the protagonist looking at it.
Yeah, what's important about that too is you don't see what exactly he's looking at. You see his face and his kind of
his glasses and like
his reaction to it.
Yeah.
And you see what he's looking at through the reflection of his glasses.
It seems like it looks like a figure. It might be his persona that he's looking at. It might be a shadow. We don't know, but whatever it is, it's not human, to say the least.
It's covered in like this bluish purple flame, and it's just like this black. You can't. Okay, people have been trying to figure out what persona or what demon it is. Like, guys, stop. It's so ambiguous and so like blobby and
yeah.
It's just a black outline, and it's not very clear. It kind of wavers a bit, even within the flame. You're not going to be able to make that out. I swear.
It's either his persona or it's going to be a shadow. I don't think they're going to go back to demons. I think they're going to continue with the shadows.
No, there's no point for them to go back to demons. That's
especially with Eternal Punishment Portable, how that.
Yeah, they explained that how.
Yeah.
I mean, even just. Let Persona be its own thing.
Yeah.
Like we don't need it to be exactly like mainline, like some people want. But geez, with that too, and you see the figure, but also below it, there appears to be a couple dead bodies lying underneath. Like people just got fucking destroyed.
They got murked.
Yeah, they got murked pretty hard. Damn. I don't know, because I don't know, man. Like, that was a good, powerful little thing. I didn't even catch that on my first viewing. I don't think many people did, but on the rewatch, it's fairly obvious if you look at it closer.
Yeah.
To be honest, I missed a couple seconds just because I'm like, fuck it, COS Twitter, Persona 5 trailer, enter.
Persona 5 trailer.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, so I was not expecting that, to say the least. I really wasn't.
I feel like I'm going to really enjoy Persona 5. It's going to be a breath of fresh air for not only just Persona, but for Megami Tensei as a whole.
You know, and something that I think is fucking nuts is if you look at everywhere on the internet, or like every Mega 10 fan base, reactions are generally positive.
Yeah, Mega 10 fans.
When was the last time that happened?
When was the last time that happened? Mega 10 fans are coming together? What is this?
Why can't you fuckers be like this all the time? It's so nice.
So nice.
The last time this happened, even this didn't even happen with the fucking like November stream.
Yeah.
Because people were butthurt about Dancing All Night, and there are people who were butthurt about Persona Q. But like there's like a few people that are like, the main character's design sucks, and it's like, fuck you. But
there are like a few bad apples, but the overwhelming positive reaction that the Western Mega 10 fan base has given to this trailer is
the last. The last about 12 hours has been nothing but happiness and positivity, which really fucking cool.
Yeah, brings a tear to my eye.
Yes. Or warms our cynical old Mega 10 fan hearts.
Yes.
Holy shit, though! Like, that was unexpected. Like, fucking, Levito and I both kind of like, fuck, we should have recorded that Skype call because our reaction's fucking priceless. And we're just like,
So yeah, guys, if you could please support Persona 5, like, please buy this game. I mean, you know how cool it would be if we got like more Mega 10 games on console. That'd be pretty hype.
Katsu, I don't think there's anyone listening to this right now that has a Persona 3. No, I don't think there's anyone listening right now that has a PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 that isn't gonna buy it day one.
I know, but I'm saying for those people who aren't on the ball or are still skeptic about this game, because I know there's like a few of you guys who are just sitting there like, it's Persona, I hate Persona.
Oh, fuck those people. Buy the game.
Please buy the game, because could you imagine like another console Mega 10 game? Like, what if they decide to like revive Digital Devil Saga, but not be like Avatar Tuner?
Not gonna lie, probably the only reason Mainline still comes out is because Persona money.
Yeah, Persona money.
Correction, the only stuff that isn't Persona comes out from Mega 10 is because of Persona money. Fucking
man.
Deal with it. It's the truth. Man, it was just a nuts day. I guess even to close it out.
Yeah.
To close it out, kind of. Actually, why don't you take this? I've talked enough.
So, not long after the hype for Persona 5 trailer hit the West, because not everybody was watching. I mean, I think like the first time the general audience even gotten wind of Persona 5 PS4 was when Colin Moriarty announced that it was coming to PlayStation 4 as well, and people kind of just lost their shit. I know Colin Moriarty himself lost his shit. If you don't know who that is, he's a guy. He's a IGN reviewer. Hang on, let me pull up the Silicon Era article. So yeah.
Also, I do want to say the Persona 5 trailer is. I'll link to it below. It is in fact. It was immediately the second it was done. It was up on Atlus Japan's YouTube.
Yeah.
They scheduled that shit perfectly. So.
All right. So. Hoshino had a message for all of the Persona fans out there who saw the trailer and posted it on the Persona blog thingy, and it pretty much says that we announced Persona 5. It's coming to the PlayStation 4 version. It's going to be released simultaneously with the PS3 version in 2015. And he says like, sorry that we're going to have to make you guys wait even longer, but. Then he's like, I believe we'll have a great game that will remain in your hearts. This message overall is just really heartwarming. Like, Hoshino's a pretty decent human being.
It's basically a giant thank you for supporting Persona and just Atlus crap in general. One thing that I guess we both kind of pointed out, and I wish I had the. Do you want to link to the article real quick, just so I can?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Hold on. Let me find the fucking line. Um. Uh. Shit. Hold on. Okay, so one thing that we did kind of both notice, and I think it kind of you can read between the lines here. Actually, I'm just going to read the paragraph. He says, "Personally speaking, after directing Catherine, I was supposed to prepare for making titles on HD consoles, but that's a story from a very long time ago. Since then, we've worked together with the team staff on developing various titles, and each one has exceeded my expectations." Now, so what this is referencing is that uh, Atlus came out and said a little bit after Catherine came out that, hey, we're kind of experimenting with the HD consoles and what we can do with it, and Persona 5 might kind of Persona 5 will be affected by this little experiment that we've done, and we're going to learn a lot about how we're going to want to actually make Persona 5 on an HD console and whatnot from just learning how to make Catherine in general. So from that, we kind of understood that Persona 5 started development around 2011. And most people, I think, assumed that it was just being continually worked on until now. This kind of makes it sound like they got a little distracted and they're kind of picking at it every once in a while, but it wasn't until more recently that they
They
started.
probably ran into some snags. They were kind of experimenting with different concepts. They couldn't get things the way they wanted, and they were trying to make something that will be more memorable than Persona 4. I know that's what Hishino was trying to do. He was just sitting there like, okay, we need to make this better than Persona 4 ever will be.
Yeah.
So what do you got, guys? And they were kind of just working on it bit by bit until they started full production later down the line.
So yeah, that's that was kind of just a little thing to notice. It's like, yeah, probably looks like that it was just a little it probably hasn't been worked on as long as we thought, but that's fine because it looks fucking great. Um, Man, and then I guess the only other thing I really want to say, well, there's two things. First of all, I was fucking right. They didn't show it at TGS. It was a pre-TGS stream. Uh,
Hello.
I'm I was right.
TGS hasn't even started yet. Maybe they might show an extended trailer, or maybe they're going to reveal that, hey, you can play as a FemC too, and then they're just going to show the FemC version of the trailer at TGS. You
I
don't know.
I'm not expecting a FMC.
Aw.
I'm really not. I don't think that'll happen. No, but crap, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I was actually kind of just surprised it happened in general, because I know I went on record saying I don't think it's gonna be at TGS, guys, but I didn't think it would be a pre-TGS stream thing either, because that's what this was. It was Sony's pre-TGS stream, so it technically isn't Tokyo Game Show, but it might as well be in a way. It's just Sony showing off a bunch of games and stuff. So I really didn't, of all places, was not expecting
They were
here.
pretty much showing off why you should buy a PlayStation 4.
And I think the reason that happened is, of course, because of the PlayStation 4 port that they're doing for this.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting to see how it works. I'm assuming that it's probably just going to look better. I doubt there's going to be major differences.
1080p and 60 frames a second.
That'll probably happen. I wouldn't be surprised. I would be kind of depressed actually if they somehow ported it to PS4 without that. Like, I can't imagine that could be too hard. But
Yeah.
who knows? So yeah, it just looks really exciting. Can't wait to see how that all turns out. And then I guess the second thing I want to say, it really, and even Hashino kind of said something like, "Sorry, we haven't been able to show much since the first trailer, or say much since the first trailer." This just kind of again reaffirms what I said before. They are totally trickling out information to get people hyped as fuck by and releasing as little info as possible, because even we learned a lot from this, but let's be serious. There's no gameplay in this. It's just a cutscene.
Yeah.
About
it might not
a
even be a
minute or two
cutscene.
long.
It might just be a thing for the sole purpose of.
It might be trailers only.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah, just to show off what the main character looks like and what to expect from Persona 5.
Yes, and what I think is fucking amazing is that they Atlus literally has us by the balls. We just spent hold on. We just spent about 46 minutes talking about a trailer that was like a minute long. Well, I guess a little.
We did, I can't even speak.
I know, but fuck. God, the fucking marketing is so good.
God damn it, Atlus.
It's fucking amazing. I really hope what they're doing is amazing though, because they're getting people talking, they're getting people exciting. You're getting the bullshit fan theories that like go crazy, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" and "What's up this Persona 5 thing? It seems so interesting." They're getting people talking and excited, and they're doing that by basically telling us nothing and letting our imaginations run wild.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait for it to drop. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make sure as many people as possible to play this game. I'm gonna get Angry Joe to review it.
Jesus. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I am excited. I think we all are. I wasn't expecting this. If you had told me yesterday that we'd be talking about a Persona 5 trailer right now, I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe me either.
Like, I didn't think we'd get anything until maybe November.
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen. But yeah, that's nuts. I guess we can transition into emails. So
yes,
let's strong bad this up. So this one is from Joe Mamatron, and they ask, why do people include games like SMT If and Strange Journey when talking about the mainline series? They aren't numbered, so they obviously aren't part of the mainline. Shin Megami Tensei If would be more sense bunched in with the Persona games. Now, I'm gonna argue
SMT If and Strange Journey are mainline.
they're both mainline. So the thing with mainline is mainline doesn't mean numbered. Mainline just means
Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah. And the way really you differentiate between that is, I guess technically you could say that Strange Journey and If are spin-offs, but they're kind of alone in that, and they're not really. I wouldn't really even call them spin-offs because nothing else really came out of them. Even Persona is definitely its own thing. Maybe I know it had influence from SMT If and whatnot.
And a character from If appears in Persona.
Yeah, but I would say SMT If is mainline just because it's basically SMT 1 and 2, but instead of being a post-apocalyptic wasteland, it takes place in a high school. It shares a lot more in common with those games than Persona 1 or 2. And then with that Strange Journey, I'd say, oddly enough, Strange Journey is more an Etrian Odyssey game than...
It was supposed to be SMT4, but they didn't want it to be called SMT4 since it didn't take place in,
Japan.
Tokyo.
And also, apparently with that too, they knew that Western fans were going to be confused if it was called SMT4, just because the series wasn't as well known as when the real SMT4 came out. But yeah, I would say Strange Journey still counts as mainline just because that's what it's closest to, and I think it's similar enough to be considered that. So I guess
And it carries the Shin Megami Tensei label in Japan.
Yes,
that's very important.
I think that's the main thing, is mainline doesn't mean numbered. Mainline just means it's
Shin Megami Tensei.
It's Shin Megami Tensei, yeah. So I guess that clears that up. Thank you, Joe Mama, for sending in that email question. Now we have someone we have an email from Chris, and he says, "Hey guys, it's Chris from episode 30. Just want to say he's having a blast joining you and the COS companions on stream." And so he says in the stream that he is that guy with the mustache in the Twitch chat. So when I'm streaming, if you see him, that's who this is. And he says He says he's really glad we recommended DDS. He's going for the Demi-Fiend now. He says so far he's really loved the characters and story so much that copy of Avatar Tuner Volume 1 is on his way to his house right now. So, yeah, it's probably there already. This is an old email. So, yeah, have fun reading that. Now, he has his actual question. He says, which Dragon Quest / Warrior game do you like the least? For him, it's Dragon Warrior 1. I tried to give it a fair shake by acknowledging that it's an old game, but golly, it was just not for me. Coming from a person who started the series off with Dragon Quest VIII, it was quite jarring having to stop and go into a menu in order to go upstairs, as well as having to do that several other actions, such as talking and opening treasure chests and all that, is through a menu, and it's kind of a clunky interface because he's accustomed to RPGs being bound to a single action button. He says he acknowledges that the game has been is famous for being the one that started the Dragon Quest series, but he just couldn't get into it because it was slow and kind of old. So I thought this would just be interesting because I know, Katsu, you enjoy Dragon Quest. I enjoy Dragon Quest. Which one would you say is your least favorite that you've played?
My least favorite that I've played, it'd have to definitely be Dragon Quest 1. Dragon Quest 1 is just really, really old. It's really old, really clunky, really... Even the Japanese version was significantly worse than what we got in North America. That's just how terrible it was. It was such a bad game, but it sold so well because
There's nothing like it, really.
Yeah, there was literally nothing like it.
For me, I'm gonna have to go with Dragon Quest 2 just because it's less clunky and a little more smooth around the edges, but the fact that there are random encounters that have abilities that just automatically give you a game over is bullshit.
Oh yeah, that is really retarded.
That was terrible. Anyways, I guess that answers that. And then also he says he ran into a jar of peanut butter. He says he believes this is the key to tying together the Persona fanfiction continuity. He says thanks again for having him on for episode 30. He's looking forward to future content from us. So thanks a lot, Chris.
Thanks.
Hope you enjoy Avatar Tuner Volume 1.
Yes.
Actually, I think he's finished it already. I vaguely recall him mentioning that to me. Either on Twitter or Steam or something. Okay, so our next email is from Onyx, and he says, hello, Rasen and Katsu, and anyone who may be on the podcast as well. He says, first off, I'd like to congratulate you on your first anniversary of your podcast. It showed me that there was much more to the Shin Megami Tensei franchise than I was previously aware of, and finally made me explore past the handful of Megaten games that I had played over the last several years. My first Megaten game was Strange Journey, which I bought soon after its US release, all the way back in spring 2010. I'm not even sure why I bought it in the first place, because before then I had not liked RPGs in general, nor did I really enjoy challenging games. However, I somehow liked it enough to complete 4 full cycles of the game. Damn.
Wow.
I haven't even beaten that game once, just because I don't have the time for it right now, and I want to focus on Persona 4. Says, over the next few years, the only Megaten games I bought after that was Nocturne, which he got along with the PS2 and a bunch of other classic PS2 games from GameStop, and SMT4. I didn't get very far in Nocturne before I dropped it. He says he didn't even think he got to Matador to do the proper rage quit. Then he says, I only bought SMT4 a few months ago, but I did make it through the first cycle and got the neutral path because Isabeau is the best of Bo.
Yes.
Isabeau is the best of Bo. He says, but after I found your podcast about a month and a half ago, I became formally addicted to SMT. This is something I think both Katsu and I always love to hear.
Yes.
So he says he tried out Persona 3 and 4, bought Persona 4, beat it, got halfway through Devil Summoner Raido, and I'm currently fiend hunting in SMT4. Oh, good luck with that shit. I got bored of that after 3 hours of trying to find Matador, and I couldn't fucking find him, so I just gave up.
Yeah, I got pretty bored too. It's like finding a shiny Pokemon.
I know, it's... Oh, Jesus. That's not good. He says, I've also gone back to my Nocturne playthrough in earnest. However, progress in that has been quite slow, mostly because I keep deciding to start new games to try different builds on the Demi-Fiend. Right now, I have 20 extra points in strength and nothing else. It's better to have points in strength than luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then he says he's also been able to introduce some of his friends to the franchise as well, which is awesome. And that's something that I've have personal experience with.
Yeah.
Anyways, I says he has his actual questions now. But that was a nice little story like that. I appreciate that. It was a well written thing. And he says one. Oh, so he has looks like he has one for me, one for you, and then one for both of us. So he says, Rasen, from what I know, you use an emulator in order to stream Nocturne. What plugin settings do you use? I've tried to emulate the game as well, but I keep having some severe issues with rendering the game properly. I have successfully emulated Persona 4 and Devil Summoner Raido, however. And then he says he clarifies that he is actually emulating his copies, so it's not illegal and he's not pirating them or anything. Basically, to get Nocturne to run, all I really had to do, at least for my laptop, was dick around with my personal the video plugin settings. I didn't have to dick around with anything else really. So I'm going to just take a screen cap of that. Now I'm not sure because PS2 emulation is kind of rough still, and it's gotten better over the years, but still kind of rough. So it really depends on your computer.
Yeah.
I basically just spent an hour dicking around with it until I got it so that it ran good. But yeah, just mess around with the settings. Anyways, I guess we can answer your question. Well, you can answer yours. It says Katsu. He remembers you saying that you like. Oh God, I can't. Kara no Kyokai.
Kara no Kyokai. That's my shit.
Okay. I can pronounce the Japanese good, yay. Which is also one of his favorite animes. What would you think of a KNK hack and slash game in a Metal Gear Solid Rising Revengeance type of engine, where enemies have the lines of death painted randomly on each one, and you have to cut them with a fair degree of accuracy in order to kill them? I think KNK's Mystic Eyes and Revengeance's Zandatsu system would fit extremely well together.
Oh man. That would just be so ridiculous. As long as Platinum is the one who's developing it alongside Type Moon. Can you just imagine how the soundtrack would be? Like, as soon as Ryogi Shiki just starts killing people, Rules of Nature, or at least an equivalent would start.
I don't know what
insane.
I don't know what the fuck this is, so I'm so lost right now. But
I would. I like a Kara no Kyokai game. But the thing is with Type Moon, I think they're pretty much like, they're not doing too much with Kara no Kyokai. They're not doing anything big with the series. They had a movie, and they had the movies. They had the sequel movie, and that was pretty much it. And Kara no Kyokai barely gets any representation outside of just its core story, because it's all intertwined into one big universe with Fate and all the other stuff that Nasu has created. So at first I was kind of sad about the lack of Kara no Kyokai and Carnival Phantasm, which is this crossover anime with Tsukihime and Fate, but whatever.
That sounds like a fucked up version of Maze of Life.
Pretty much. Like, Tsukihime and Fate are a Persona 3 and Persona 4 of the Nasuverse, if you want to think of it like that. Okay. And Kara no Kyokai is Persona 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, Kara no Kyokai, like, some of the Kara no Kyokai characters were used as the basis for designs of Fate and Tsukihime characters, and etc.
Oh, breaking news!
What?
They delayed the EU version of SMT4!
Really? Are you dead? Are you serious? Give me a link. Give me a link right now.
Okay.
Right now.
I just saw Nintendo talking about it on Twitter when here's this. Apparently, yeah, they delayed it to November according to this NeoGAF post.
Available in Europe November 24th. Oh, I'm gonna close Twitter right now.
No, it's not November 24th. That's November 2014.
Oh, 2014. But still, I'm closing Twitter right now. I am not going on Twitter for the next 8 to 10 hours.
I gotta love when news happens while we're recording the podcast.
It's freaking awesome.
It's better than like the fucking other times where there's news literally an hour after.
We sure picked the perfect time.
Hey everyone, it's Rasen, and while I was editing this podcast, a lot of news about this happened, so I thought I'd just come in and edit in some information. So, the day after we recorded this podcast, which is today, for some odd reason, the banner that said SMT4 was coming out in November changed to read that it was coming out in September. So people just assumed that someone just made a mistake and that was that. However, then later again that same day, it switched to just say Europe 2014. And then everyone was just really confused. However, now John Harden just came out an hour or so ago and stated that the real SMT4 European release date is in fact October. And the reason for this was just because a few things came up and they had to deal with a few issues before they could release that. And he apologized and was very upfront about it. So that was good. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify this point because it was kind of a breaking story, if you will, even to this point. But it seems like SMT4 will come out in Europe October. Anyways, back to the podcast. Question 3. I feel that SMT might need to think of a new wrinkle to the turn-based RPG system for a future game, because players might be getting a bit tired of the press turn in one more systems. One RPG he saw that had a system he hadn't seen in other RPGs before had an important part of combat was that you could place your 5-person party into a formation to alter enemies' targeting priorities and hit chances, and other effects. You could put a tank directly in the front row to draw aggro, shield weak party members behind a line of meat shields, or stand in a circle to draw power from each other to strengthen spells. I don't know what game he's talking about, but sounds interesting enough. Do you think a future SMT game would benefit from going back to a larger party and introducing a formation mechanic like this? I kind of actually miss the formation thing.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, like, you don't really need a larger party, but if you have formations, you kind of do, because it's kind of stupid to just have, like, 2 tanks in front and then, like, 2 magic users in the back. That's just kind of dumb. I wouldn't mind it. I don't know if they would, just because I think that's not as accessible for newcomers, and I think Atlus is all across the board with Megaten. I don't think they like having people feel intimidated, and not gonna lie, 6-person party kind of rough to get used to if you're not used to that, because most RPGs nowadays are 3 or 4-person parties.
Yeah.
So, but the formation mechanic, or just something to spice things up. I mean, that's as long as they can integrate it well, and of course it's Atlus, so they're really good with that. Sure. I mean, I think that's a large part of their design philosophy, is that they just really like to do new things and try out new systems and mechanics and all that in each of their new little spin-offs. And whenever they have an idea for a new Mega 10 thing, they kind of build it from the ground up. Or, well, not really from the ground up. They kind of take Nocturne or just the mainline series, and then they put a new spin on it. So, I mean, there's still that rumor flying around about a new Megaton spin-off, and we've heard about that for ages now. If that, I'm sure that'll be different in a way, at least somewhat mechanically, so that would be nice. And then he says, thanks for reading my super long emails. I look forward to your future podcast, and we'll try to keep a better eye out for Rasen's streams so I don't keep missing them. If you want to follow that, you can just follow me on Twitch, or if you don't go on Twitch much, every single time without fail, when I stream, I post on my Twitter account, which is going to be in the description down below, along with all the rest of the social media dumps that we do. So yeah, if you want to see more of my streams, and also Katsu streams too. So
yep, I'm going to be streaming Raito after I finish up Dahag GU.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. I'm gonna
brave through the murkiness of Raito 1, and then
I think I actually think myself, if I have time, between Persona 4 and Persona Q. I don't know how this is going to work because classes start Wednesday for me. But if I have time, I would totally be down to just kind of quickly finish up my Rido playthrough myself, just because I have it sitting there on my PS2 collecting dust, and I'm like, I should finish that up, and then whenever I have free time later on, play Rido 2. Which I've heard is infinitely superior.
Yeah, but we have to go through the first one first.
Gotta go through the first one. At least just because I know people are like, oh, well, the stories aren't connected, but it's like, after you play the second one, if it really is that much better, I'm never gonna get through that first game, type of thing. So, and then I guess we'll go with one more. So Alfred asks, well, at first he says, I really like the podcast and I wanted to ask a couple questions. First one, how would you feel if you could support and marry demons in SMT Cross Fire Emblem, and who would you S rank?
I'll probably S rank Siegfried.
Oh God. I don't know. That'd be interesting. That'd be weird if they managed to throw in like a negotiation support type system thing.
Where you have to say the right thing so you can rank up.
It'd be weird. I don't know how that would work, but that'd be funny. And then also the second question he asked, I think this is kind of a fun one. What do you think SMT1 would have been called in the US if it was localized when the game was first released?
Oh man, it would be called like Revelations. Revelations something. We need to think of a subtitle.
Revelations New York Mayhem.
Yes, Revelations New York Mayhem. Instead of Japan, it's New York. Yeah. Everyone has blonde hair. Chaos Hero is black.
Okay. Oh God, that was. Instead of the city being destroyed, you just get warped to a bad dimension.
Yeah. Revelations New York Mayhem. Oh my God. It's funny because that's probably what will happen.
It would, and they wouldn't be called demons, they'd be called monsters. And also, the angels would probably be edited to not be angels, because you can't have the religion attacking. And hell, all of the religious stuff would probably be censored to just make them look like generic anime monsters.
Yes.
Oh man, that'd be hilarious to see. But I think
that would bring a smile to my face.
That would. So yeah, I think that brings a wrap to the podcast. Man, we talked about a lot. Talked about the Persona 5 trailer. Talked about the
breaking news
of SMT4 Europe getting delayed. Ha!
I'm gonna have to stay off Twitter.
I'm glad we caught that now instead of after we got done recording, at least. Yeah. So yeah, I guess this covers it. And I mean, Tokyo Game Show is still happening, September 18th through the 21st. Maybe if a miracle happens, something will happen. Break record, please, Atlus. Please.
What if Break Record was just an illusion? What if it was all a hallucination?
No, no.
How can mirrors be real if our break records aren't real?
Oh, Break Record, please be at TGS. I know it won't be, but please be at TGS.
How can mirrors be real if our break records aren't real, Rasen?
Oh.
You keep on blinking at me. You never turn away from me. In this past gloomy night sky, light the fire up in the night. The journey that we fought before our prize. No matter where we go, we will not stop the shining forever.
Gather demons and come again.